Hello and welcome to fairbutfirm.com. My name is Joe Cortez. Hey, this past weekend we had a great night of boxing here in Las Vegas at the MGM Hotel. Floyd Mayweather Jr., again, undefeated, 46-0. As I predicted, he would win. However, he won by a slight margin of the scorecards of most fans out there. The judges had a little bit more in his favor. One had it a draw, 114-114. But Carlos Maidana, I must take my hat off to him, and I would say, Marcos, you did a great job. You fought, you stayed in there toe-to-toe with him when you had to, most of the time. I never seen Floyd Mayweather up against the ropes as much as he was that night, and it was Marcos Maidana's pressure that kept him against the ropes. And could it be that maybe Floyd Mayweather's legs are not as sharp as they were in the past? When you get up against the ropes, I mean, it's a sign of either the guy's keeping you trapped in there, or you just rather you stay there and work with the uppercuts inside, which he was working good. That might have been Floyd Mayweather's move. His strategy was let the guy punch himself out and play the rope-a-dope for a while, stay up against the rope, uppercuts inside, combinations, short combinations. And Floyd did well in the second half of the fight. The first half was really kind of close, a lot of close rounds there, but a lot of them were going towards Maidana. I saw the fight a little bit one-sided for Floyd Mayweather. However, you know, guys, watching the fight on TV, again, it leads me to the point where I say, you know, angles, positioning of where you're watching the fight, those cameras from different angles, when you watch it at home, you can really see 99% of the punches much better than you do in person. In person, you miss so much. I know I did. And I must say, I flopped Saturday night by giving so many rounds to Floyd Mayweather, but watching it on TV, I can say that Maidana won at least 4, maybe even 5 rounds in that fight. So again, like I said, Marcos Maidana, you did a great job. I'm very proud of you, and I'm sure that your countrymen should be very proud of you as well, because Marcos Chino Maidana is somebody to reckon with. He was talking about a rematch. And you know what? It will sell very well because Marcos and Chino gave Floyd a run for his money. Even though Floyd said, yeah, there was no big thing, that he won easily. You know, he didn't win that easy. He had his hands full. And if one judge gave it a draw, it was that kind of a fight. It was close. And Michael Pernick, who gave it a draw, is an excellent judge. I mean, he was here recently doing the Canelo fight against Alfredo Angulo, and 5 weeks later they bring him back in because he's a great judge. He does a great job. But did he have an off night? No. It was just that the rounds were so close, it could have gone either way. And if you're sitting at one side of the ring, you're going to see it different than the judge on that side and the judge on this side. So Mike Pernick, I think, did a great job. Again, it's just the way you see it from the angle where you're sitting at. But Marcos Maidana really came in with the overhand right, like I predicted he would. I thought Mayweather would block a lot more. Some of the punches were landing in the back. A lot of dirty tactics were going on in there on both sides. And it was because Maidana, like I said, would come in. He had to watch his head. And sure enough, Mayweather got a cut. And you know, when you get the cut, then you start bringing the elbow up because you're afraid of the head coming in. So I always say that Floyd Mayweather will keep the elbow down as long as you're not coming in with the head. Once you start coming in with the head, he has a tendency to pick up the elbow. And if you come into his elbow, it's on you, because as long as you don't go forward with it, you know, it's all right. But when you go forward with it, then it's a foul. So, but it got nasty. A lot of low blows, a lot of punches behind the back, behind the legs. I even saw Marcos pick up a knee one time. I don't know if it was because he got hit with a punch and the knee came up, or it came up because he was just fighting a little dirty. I don't know. But it was a tough fight to referee. Tony Weeks had his hands full. He gave some strong warning. And he was breaking up the fighters constantly. And I saw that Tony Weeks, I said, oh my God, he's in a tough one tonight. Which I thought, a while back, I made a prediction that, I don't know if it was on ESPN or here on my website, I said the referee probably going to have a tough night if Maidana comes out fighting the way he usually fights. And And Mayweather was trying to get away from him, but it was tough. The first half, in the second half of the fight, Mayweather started getting more towards the center of the ring, moving around better. He looked better. Maidana couldn't catch him that much. Mayweather was able to tag him a lot more. There was like 700 punches missed by Maidana, and maybe 150 some odd punches that were connected. And the stats showed that it was close as far as the hits were concerned. But as far as the misses, Marcos Maidana, there was so many misses, like 600-700 punches that were missed by Maidana in the fight. So it goes to show, every time he threw a punch out, the fans would go crazy, especially he threw a barrage of punches. They thought he was getting hit. If you look closely on TV, you can see 99% of the punches were missed. Mayweather has a tendency to be able to get away from those punches. We slip and slide, and then he would grab and hold, and he did what he had to do to survive. And it was a great fight for the fans. I think they got their money's worth. Tony Weeks, I told him yesterday, he came by yesterday, and we were just hanging out and talking a little bit about the fight. He had his hands full, and he knew that going into that fight was going to be a tough one, but it turned out to be a little tougher than what he thought. So you can check him out on the ESPN interview I did with him in reference to the fight. On the undercard, Adrian Broner fought Carlos Molina Jr., and it was a one-sided fight as far as Broner was concerned. You know, he won, but you know, the little rough tactic there. When in the early part of the fight, he picked up Molina. It was like a wrestling match. He picked him up in the air and slammed him down. He's lucky that Molina was able to continue. If Molina would have sprained his back with ankle or shoulder or something, Broner would have lost by disqualification. So, you know, I told the referees, always watch out for these kind of rough tactics because they are intentional, and we don't want any fighter getting hit, getting hurt by intentional foul. You know, UFC, you can get away with all that, but you can't do that in boxing or wrestling match. You can fling the guy, throw him out of the ring, and pick him up and throw him back in the ring. You can do it. This is not a wrestling match. This is a boxing match. And Broner, you got to watch what you're saying out there, buddy. A lot of racist talk. It's not good for boxing. It's not good for anybody. You know, you want to be a good world champion, be recognized as one of the great ones. Watch some of the great fighters in the past and how they speak, and maybe you can learn a little bit from them. And when I see you in person, I will tell you myself. So if you want to be a great one, keep you a little bit more on the quiet side and show what you got with your fist and not with your mouth, all right? Anyway, the other fight on the card was Luis Collazo, who fought a lousy fighting Amir Khan. Amir Khan looked good, sharp at 147. Yeah, he was pretty quick with his hands. He had to shine that night because he wants to be the next opponent for Floyd Mayweather. And there's a possibility if the Maidana fight, the rematch doesn't take place, they may give Amir Khan a shot. I mean, he looked pretty decent, and not the top of the kind of fighter that he was in his earlier part of his career, but he showed some sharpness in there. He put Luis Collazo down 3 times in the fight. Luis Collazo bringing his hands down and you know, trying to show that he can take a punch. You know, anybody who's a decent fighter could most likely take a decent punch, but you're not going to win that way, buddy. You're going to lose. That's just what happened. It was a unanimous decision win for Amir Khan. Luis Collazo, you got to start thinking about going back to the drawing board and change those tactics that you have, and maybe you can have a couple of more good fights ahead of you. But Luis Collazo didn't show me much Saturday night. Okay, then we had the other fight on the undercard was, I'm trying to think now, I'm going a little blank here, guys.
Leon Love.
Love against
Paraban
from Mexico. Good fight. Jay Nady was the referee in that fight. The fans were not too happy the way Jay handled that fight for the simple reason that when Love got hurt, it was up against the ropes. He got hit with some shots, and then it looked like he was going to go in to stop it, and then he separated the fighters, and the fans went crazy. They started booing, and then Love was on the defense and got up against the ropes, and he got hit with some shots and went down, and he got hit 3 times while he was down. The referee pushed Garibaldi down. He pushed him, and Garibaldi went down. It looked like a wrestling match as well. He flanged him. Jay Nady must have had his Wheaties that day because he threw this guy across the ring, and the guy went down. And I was wondering who's going to get counted out first. But it was a kind of a fight, tough fight. Love won the fight by decision, and a unanimous decision. But the fans were not too happy with that, especially because the way the fight was handled. But Jay Nady will probably look at that fight and study his techniques and the fight the way he handled that fight. And he probably wants to go back to the drawing board. Good guy, and he just got to watch out the way he handles the fight, especially when the guy gets hit, they're in trouble. You got to stay with the falling fighter. I told my referee, Jay, said he gives great seminars to the ABC. And one of the things that we do is stay with the fallen fighter when he's hurt, and make sure that the fighters, when they get hit, when they're down, it's automatic point deductions. If Love would have stayed down after he got hit with 3 punches while he was on the canvas, the fight would have been, he would have won by disqualification. Love would have won by disqualification. So fighters, I know they understand the heat of the action, they're throwing punches, the guy goes down, you hit him 3 more times. You can't do that. And that's when the referee has to be on top of his game and say, hey, wait, time out. We know some knockdown. Don't count out there, but give him time to recoup and take a point, 1 point, 2 points, depending on the severity of the blow. The ABC rule says for intentional fouls, it's point deductions. Now you take 1 point if it's something minor, but if the severity of the blows while he's down, you think they were really that bad that hurt him more, then you take 2 points. But one thing you guys have to remember is if that fighter cannot continue, and the doctor tells you you have to stop the contest, the fighter causing the fouls loses by disqualification. And that's the way it is in boxing. Those are the rules. Sometimes the fans think that when the referee disqualifies the fighter, it's on the referee's court. Those are the rules, especially when the doctor tells you you have to stop the fight. There's no turning around. The referee's hands are tied. He has to disqualify the fighter causing the injury. So I know that has happened to me in the past, where I thought a fighter who got hit, was down. I'll tell you, the name was Lorenzi when he fought Roberto Soto. And Roberto Soto hit him with a couple of shots, whacked him behind the head while he was down. I mind the shot. It was nothing really serious, but the doctor said he cannot continue. And like I said, we asked the doctor, he cannot continue for what reason? Because of the broken nose? He said, no, because of the blow behind the head. And when the doctor tells you you have to stop it because of the blow behind the head, my hands were tied. And then that's when the decision was rendered that according to the ABC rules, fighter causes the injury, loses by disqualification. So it was my part, it was that I had to do it because the doctor told me he can't continue because of the one particular blow behind the head. So that's why I told referees, watch your fighters when they get hit, and then with the doctor, consult with the doctor, and be sure if you have to disqualify a fighter, that you are in agreement with the rules and with the doctor. But if the doctor overrules the referee, tells the referee you have to stop it because of the blow behind the head, the fans are going to boo you as a referee, but you're following the rules of the ABC rules, and you have to follow the doctor, because if you let it continue, there's no wavering. If you let it continue, and that guy gets hurt seriously, and ends up in the hospital, or gets killed in the ring, did the doctor tell you to stop it? And then you overruled him. You can't overrule the doctor. So those are some of the rules that the fans have to understand. That's why we as referees, we're in a situation sometimes where it's a tough, when we apply to become a referee, we know going in is going to be a tough business. You have to have thick skin to be a referee. You're going to get criticized. 50% of fans are going to love you, 50% are going to hate you, depending on who's their favorite fighter. But in boxing, referees have to do their job. Judges have the hot seat. I've always said it. The judges got the hot seat. They're in that seat, and let me tell you, when you're sitting there scoring the fights, it's not easy. Sometimes you're hoping for one good solid blow so you can determine the winner of that particular round. And according to the study that we did last year, when you get judges on the bottom, they miss anywhere from 9 to 20 punches per round. While on the top, a different angle, you're missing maybe 1 to 2 punches. So you can imagine when you're sitting at ringside and the fight is so close, like the Mayweather and Maidana fight, they were so around so close, you're hoping for one good solid blow, one good strong one, so you can give it to one or the other. And this is why I'm saying that's a hot seat. So judges and referees out there, when they get their license, they know what they're getting themselves into. That's why they work in the amateurs numbers of years before they go in there to be a little prepared for it. But no matter how prepared you are, those fights in the ring can sometimes be a little bit close. You have controversial decisions, split decisions, decisions that are not favorable with the fans, but the fans are rooting for one particular fighter, so they're thinking with emotions, whereas officials, the judges and referees have to think like referees and judges. You have to think like an official. You can't think like a fan. And that's what makes the difference of a judge and a referee. They don't think with emotion, whereas the fans do. So a close round, and your favorite fighter, of course, a close round, you want to give it to your fighter. Because subconsciously, you're thinking all along, he's going to win. I want him to win. I want him to win. Close round, you're going to decide with your fighter. But in reality, in the real world, as a judge, there's different criteria in scoring the fight. And of course, that's ring generalship, effective aggressiveness, defense, and the cleaner and harder blows. That's how those are 4 criteria in scoring the fight. Referees, they say to themselves, oh wow, this is a tough fight. I can't wait for the last bell to ring, because sometimes it gets a little bit to that point where you're saying, wow, what a tough fight. And Tony Weeks, this past weekend, had his hands full, and he did a great job. This coming Friday, vacant WBC heavyweight title. You have Chris Arreola from California fighting
Bermain Stiver.
Bermain Stiver. And Bermain Stiver is a fighter who has beaten Chris Arreola. He beat him last year. This is a rematch, but Chris Arreola got dropped in the 3rd round at that fight, as I recall. Had a busted nose, and it was a war. And I think Chris Arreola is going to come in a little bit better prepared, because he knows what his opponent has to offer him. So it's going to be a good fight for the vacant heavyweight title, the title that Klitschko relinquished recently when he went into politics, and he had a good run as a heavyweight, great heavyweight Klitschko was. And we'll see Friday night. I'll take it back. It'll be Saturday night on ESPN, a special ESPN event. So that'll be coming from California. And we wish both fighters the best of luck. And we'll talk to you next week. Take care.